YouTube channel. So hopefully you all got noted. Again, this is Jeff Carroll, State Quartermaster. And tonight we're going to be going through the quarterly audit, trustees quarterly audit. And we're going to have the person who reads them all go through it with us. So he can give you some information about what he sees, what works, what you're supposed to be doing, maybe some challenges along the way. That's our infamous inspector, Curtis Talley. So I'm going to turn it over to him and let him get started so that hopefully we have some time for some questions along the way. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. And Curtis, you got it.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Good evening, everybody. First thing that I'd like to go over is the bond, or the audit form. So does everybody know where to acquire the audit form? I know I see several that are printed off and then filled in by hand. We do have an electronic form that's on the department website. And I'm going to try this share screen thing. I've never tried to use it before in Zoom, but let's see how it works. So can everybody see what I'm trying to show you? Does everybody see the forms page on the website?
Yes.
Okay. And you get there, once you get to the home page, you go to resources, click on forms. It'll take you to this page. Basically any form that you need is going to be on this page. So the trustee quarterly audit form, you can see it's maybe a third of the way down, a little bit more, but that's the one you want. And if we go back and look at the requirements out of the manual for an Article 218, 11 for trustees, that says at least monthly review, monthly report of receipts and expenditure to the post quartermaster. So right up here, you see quartermaster receipts and disbursement form. See if I can get this thing. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. Drag this thing down a little bit. So you have this form. And again, this is an electronic form that the quartermasters can use on a monthly basis to track receipts and disbursements. It does have a spot here for the trustees to review this. So I would encourage you to have the trustees look at that. And then again, you come back over here to the forms page, trustee quarterly audit form. So you have this form that you get to on the website. Now, you cannot fill out this form on the website. You have to actually download it to your computer. So I've done that. I've got a copy of it. We don't necessarily need that right now. All right, so that's where you can acquire the form. You can print the form and fill it out by hand if you so desire, but it's a whole lot easier if you want to fill all the stuff in on the computer using Excel, and Excel will actually do your calculations for you. So just some things to keep in mind when you're using the Excel form. And again, you have to download it to your computer in order to be able to use it and fill stuff in on it. And then it will come in, you'll see a yellow line across the top here. And you have to click on, there's a button on there to edit the form. You have to click on that to be able to actually enter information into it. Some things that I've noticed. District is sometimes not filled in. Post numbers, typically that gets filled in pretty good, but sometimes they don't fill in the district. When I'm collecting these things, I divide them up by district. So I have a folder for every district, and I just copy the file into that folder and then rename it to the post number. So it helps me if you put the district number on the top of the form. Also, Department of Georgia, for the fiscal quarter ending, please put the quarter end date. All right, September 30th, June 30th. That helps me differentiate which one it is. Also, identify, you can bold or circle or what have you for these audit quarters. So please identify that as well. That just helps me when I get them in my email to figure out, okay, which one is it, and make sure I put it in the right folder. Also, for some of you newer quartermasters, recognize that the calendar year, the first quarter is January through March. For the VFW year, the first quarter is April through June. So if you get a communication from me where I'm talking about quarters and I'm calling them out by number, that's what I'm talking about. So the first quarter is April through June. Second quarter is July through September. Third quarter, October through December. And the fourth quarter is January through March. All right. Let's see. Got some notes written down here. I apologize for not looking at the screen. As you fill these things in, if you make a mistake, don't go over to the far column and delete the numbers. Okay. This is an Excel form. It does use an equation to figure out what's on that line, to total up everything on that line. If you delete that block that has a number in it, you're going to delete the formula as well, and then it's not going to do what we want it to do. It's not going to add the numbers for you. So this,
Comrade Tally.
Yes, sir.
Real quick. I've experienced that a lot. So when they put in the numbers, the formula gets deleted. You need to verify up, down, and sideways.
Yes, sir.
If you see that it's not matching up, then you know you got a bad. You need to re-download the.
That's
the
correct.
Excel sheet.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna see if we can update this form and maybe lock those so you can't type in them. We should be able to do that in Excel.
That
will be good.
Until such time as the quartermaster is able to do that, if you go into the entry blocks for cash balance at the beginning of the quarter, the receipts or expenditures, and even if you go into the last column there, if you right click on that column, you come down here and click where it says clear contents. All that's going to do is clear what you typed into that box. Okay, it's not going to delete the formula. So that is one option as well. It'd be better off if you just stay out of these and just let the program do what it's supposed to do. But if you make a mistake when you're entering receipts, again, if you right click, come down here and select clear contents, it'll clear that entry and then you won't delete anything. Okay. So there's that. This number, block 16, that's the important one. That's your balance. The way that this form is going to calculate is anything that you add on these lines for these line items, your beginning of quarter balance, your receipts, and your expenditures, it's going to add them up in this column on the end for the net cash balance at the end of the quarter. And then it's going to add those things in that column to come up with this number. Okay. What it's also going to do is calculate your receipts and your expenditures, but this number is not coming off of these numbers. It's coming off of what's over here. All right. So pay attention to that. All right. Make sure that the numbers make sense. Check them with a calculator, because you may have inadvertently deleted something that you shouldn't have, and it looks like it's still there, but it may not be, and the equation may not be working out exactly the way it's supposed to. So just some helpful hints there. As we move on down, completion date. When did you do the audit? What was the date? Okay. Fiscal quarter ending, again, make sure that you update that. I think a lot of posts use the electronic form, and they forget sometimes to go in and update when they did the audit and what the date is down here. So if they go back and they get the previous audit and they just try to update that form instead of opening up a brand new one, some of those dates get carried over, and it makes it confusing when I get them and trying to figure out exactly what we got. Okay. Quartermaster name and address, usually not a problem. Trustee signatures. As of right now, I don't have any way to verify an electronic signature. So I kind of got to have actual pen and ink on the line in order to show that the audit has been reviewed by the trustees. That's unfortunate. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get around that at any point or anytime soon. But as of right now, I do need to see signed forms. I don't have a problem. I've seen some posts where they printed out several copies of it and then sent one out to every trustee. So I get 3 copies with signatures on one line, as long as they're different signatures. And I've got one that's signed by the commander and all the numbers match. I think that meets the intent. One thing that I would suggest, if your posts are trying to do that, once you have the opportunity, you can get everybody together, get all the signatures on one form, and that way you have a record copy that's got everything it's supposed to have on it. Bond information, please pay attention to that. I have seen several audits come through where the block 16 amount is a lot more than what shows up for a bond. Okay. And unfortunately, the way the insurance business works, the way the bonding business works, you're only good if something happens, then you're only going to get paid for what your bond amount is, as long as you meet all the wickets that they're going to put in front of you to check to make sure that you followed all the rules. So make sure that your bond is covering how much money the post has. Also put the expiration date for your bond, and then make sure we get a commander's signature. Okay. Let's see. So some of the big issues I see, this is a checkbook or your ledger for your personal checkbook. So as you're filling out for the quartermasters, as you're filling out the cash balance at the beginning of quarter, that when I look at it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the previous quarter audit, and I'm going to open up your current quarter audit, and I'm going to look at the net cash balance from the previous quarter, and I'm going to compare those numbers to the net cash balance at the beginning of the new quarter, and they should match identically. And if they don't, that's a big red flag for me, and I kind of get discouraged, and sometimes I just have to quit right there because it's a pain to go through all these things and figure out where the issue is. Okay. Some of the things that contribute to that, your line items, for whatever reason, you may decide to change what you're calling something between quarters. That's very difficult to follow if you don't close one out and then open up another one. Let's see. The other thing is, if you don't have a balance at the end of the quarter, don't put a balance at the beginning of a quarter for a different line item, because then I'm going to start asking, where did that money come from? Okay.
Comrade Tally, I will tell
Yes,
you,
sir.
with post 5899, we are opening up a new account this quarter. So
Okay.
when you start that, it should start with 0, and then you'll
Yes,
have your
sir.
receipts, and then your final. But being a new account, it's going to start at 0, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. All right.
And then you're going to show whatever money you're going to put into that new line item or that new account. You'll show receipts for that. And if it came out of another line item, you're going to show expenditures out of that one to equal that.
I got
Okay.
you. All right.
All right. Now, if it's a pure donation that somebody maybe a donor
Curtis, your video locked up.
to show
lost.
the receipt.
Hang on a second, Curtis. Looks like you're locked up.
Yep.
Do we lose him? Maybe so.
Yeah, he's gone.
Let me jump in and see if we can.
Mr. Carroll, I got a question for you, sir.
Go ahead.
When you're talking about updating whatever on the forms,
Right.
in block 17 says operations, value of real estate, and amount of property insurance. You can't get the number to show up there because it shows crosshatches all the way across. So you have to write it in. It'd be nice if you get rid of the damn crosshatches so you can put the number in that spot.
We will look into that. Let me write this down because I don't write it down, I'll forget. Ow. All right.
Yeah, that normally means there's too big a number in that field. You need to make the field bigger.
We'll look at it, see what we can do. I'm going to. All right, let me share my screen while we're waiting for Curtis to get back. All right, so here we're on the, move this out of the way. Again, for those of you who might not have seen, you go to VFWGA.com. Once you're on the website, go over here to resources, click the drop down, and you go down here to forms. Once you click that, it'll come in. It's got your donation forms up top, your bonding forms. If you're like me, you don't like searching through all this stuff, then what I'll do sometimes is you can do a Control F for find and type trustee, and it'll take you right down to the form. Click on it. Let's open it up, see what we got. It wants to be slow. Got too many things going on here. All right, come on. There we go. All right. You'll see this yellow bar across. Oh, let's go. Close this. Yeah. Shouldn't have to go through that. Too many things going on. Give it a second.
I think Curtis is back.
Curtis, you back?
You just sent a message.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, I was just walking them back through a little rehash of what you were doing. And
Okay.
so, okay, when you get in, you'll see this yellow where it says protected view, because your computer doesn't know that you really wanted to download this. So in order to type in it, you just need to click enable editing. And then once you do that, you'll be in the form. What Curtis didn't show is if you type a number in here, he talked about it, you'll see it gives you the total across here. So it's going to total all these. You can see it's totaling across. Well, not that because it's subtracting. And then it's also totaling down. So as you type in numbers. And what Curtis showed you is that whatever the ending numbers were last quarter, those have to be your starting numbers for this quarter. And then you make your additions, your receipts, and your expenditures to show what the new ending numbers are. Curtis, are you back ready to go?
I think so.
All right, let me unshare. Meeting controls, where'd they go? Zoom is helping me. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Too many screens here. Was I even sharing?
Yes, you were.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I've
All right.
got your screen.
Okay.
I've
There
got
we
your
go. We're back.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. Where was I? I was about done. One advantage to using the form is you can actually print the form and you can print the PDF. Everybody familiar with the PDF? What that means? Basically, it takes whatever you have printed on the screen. Let's try this again. All right. So once you get your form filled out, all your numbers are right, you can come up here, click on File, then click Print. And then as long as you're in Excel, you should have print to PDF in some way, shape, or form. But that's portable document format. And then the example that it has over here, that's what your document will look like. And you can just save that to your computer. Then you have that copy of your audit form. And then you can print that form and take it around and have the trustees review and sign, and the commander can sign that as well. Okay. So that makes things a little bit easier, makes my life a little bit easier because it's more legible rather than a handwritten copy. Eventually you're going to have to send it to headquarters. And the method that you use to send it to headquarters, personally, I would prefer that you scan it and email it that way. I know a lot of people still have fax machines. I am not a big fan of a fax machine because you lose a lot of clarity when you fax something. So particularly with a handwritten form, it makes it a lot harder to read. And even with a printed form, it's going to shrink the form a little bit, and it's going to make it that much more difficult to be able to read it and decipher what's on it. So one other thing I kind of like to go over with you guys is, if I can find it. What did I do with it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So let me share this again. And this is out of the commander's book, and it's the canteen and clubroom activity rules, financial records. For those of you that have posts with clubrooms or canteens, this is what you're supposed to be doing on a monthly basis as far as the financials go associated with the clubroom or canteen.
Zoom in on that a little.
Okay.
Some of us have
Everybody
older
read
eyes
that?
like me. No, more. Getting better.
More?
Uno más.
One more?
That's probably good right there.
All right.
There you go. Look at that.
Okay. All right.
Too
So
much. Now you're screaming at me.
these are the records, the required records. What? You started screaming at me at the beginning. All right. So this is what's required per the department rules for club rooms and canteens on a monthly basis. So I know at least a couple of you out there have club rooms and canteens. So the other thing it says, I'm gonna have to zoom out a little bit.
And I would say
Uh,
get used to doing that if you're not, because probably by next year, if not later this year, for next year's inspection, we're going to probably have an addendum, a department addendum to the inspection sheet, and we're going to be looking at these things. So if you're not doing them, start looking at them and doing them.
All right. So any question on where to find this information, where to find the financial records requirement?
Curtis, this is Dean
All right.
Rakowski. Could you go back to the trustee report?
Yes, sir. Hang on. All right. There you go.
Okay, just a second.
Do you have a question?
Well, there's 2 points.
Dean?
Actually, there are 2 comments I want to make. One way to reduce the likelihood of an error in the first column relative to the data entered in the last column of the previous trustee report is to bring both reports out for the trustees when they do their review so they can do a cross check. So whatever quarter this one is, let's say it's the second quarter, okay? And if it were completed and be presented for signature by the trustees, also bring out the first quarter report so they can compare the last column on the first quarter report with the first column on the second quarter report and ensure consistency across the 2. That was one of the 2 comments.
Curtis, can you comment on whose responsibility it is to prepare the form? For some reason in my mind, I'm thinking that the quartermaster prepares the forms and the trustee's job is to review the forms and ensure they're accurate. Is there a form that the trustee is supposed to fill out?
The trustees are supposed to do this form.
This
This form, they're supposed to take the quartermaster's records and do it. However, in 99% of the time, the quartermaster is the one who prepares the form and reviews it, or
Yeah,
with the trustees.
That's why I'm asking the question. That's been my experience.
Right. And if you can get your trustees to do the form, that would be even better, because if they're doing the form, then we know they're looking at it. But
All right.
and you got to start early with trustees on when they first start training them that. Go ahead, Curtis.
Okay. From the manual of procedures, section 218, Alpha 5 Echo for quartermaster. Provide the post trustees with all records, files, and statements required or necessary for the preparation of the post trustee quarterly report of audit. So that's according to the manual procedure. It's supposed to be the trustees doing it. And from the trustees section, at least monthly, review the monthly report of receipts and expenditure of the post quartermaster. So the monthly report is done by the quartermaster.
And signed and reviewed and approved by the trustee, right?
The monthly report, yes, sir.
Right.
And then within 30 days from the end of each quarter, properly audit the books and records of the post quartermaster, post adjutant, and any activity, clubroom, holding company, or unit sponsored, conducted, or operated by, for, or on behalf of the post, and submit a post trustees report of audit to the department quartermaster for referral to the department inspector. And that's the responsibility of the post trustees. And to what Quartermaster Carroll said, typically the preparation of that quarterly audit is done by the quartermaster and
Question,
reviewed by the trustees.
question.
Yes, sir.
You said that the monthly form is to be signed. Is it
Yes,
just
sir.
to be signed by the post commander?
Let
Be
me,
signed by the trustees.
Yeah, it's signed
The
by
monthly
the
form has
chief
to be signed by the trustees.
and then
signed
the
by the trustees.
commander.
But during the meeting, don't you have to vote and approve the minutes and the quarterly quartermaster, the monthly quartermaster report?
You won't ever get a report signed if you have to do every month. I'm going to tell you, they don't come to the meetings.
Then why are
I
they
think that's
trustees?
just
That's one of the,
ludicrous.
it's not ludicrous. I'll tell you that when we see
It is
problems.
very
with-
ludicrous.
Excuse
You
me.
don't, the people don't
Listen.
show up for the damn meetings.
Listen. I'm going to tell you that when we see financial problems at posts, it's because the trustees are not doing their jobs. One of the challenges is trustee is the last thing we elect. And so it's all right, Susie or Jimmy, you got nothing. Here, take trustee. It's easy. It's cake. You just sign a form once a quarter.
Well, I've never had a monthly form signed by the trustees.
Well, you
In fact,
can change
post
the
commander
culture.
doesn't
That's
sign it.
no. Your trustees should be looking at it. In fact,
And
I encourage
I've
trustees
been
to,
through five inspections and never been caught on it.
guess what? Get ready. Because your next one, you will. And comrade, we're trying to help people do a better job of managing VFW resources. So if you're here to do that, I appreciate your help. But if you're just going to complain, that's not going to help. Now, I understand it's a challenge sometimes. You can have trustees sign the bank statements, but your trustees should be at the meetings. And if they can't be, then set up a separate meeting with them. It doesn't say it has to be at the meeting. It says they have to sign it monthly. You can set up a trustees only meeting, an officers meeting. You can do whatever you need to do.
Hey,
To
guys,
get with
don't
them.
forget, this is a voluntary thing. This isn't like you get paid to come in and do this.
Okay, so one meeting a month with your trustees
That's why it's
taxing.
ludicrous.
It's not ludicrous.
It is.
Belinda, you got your hand up?
You may
Go
not
ahead.
understand the term ludicrous.
Sir, what I'm new at being a quartermaster. So I've been learning from others as well as my commander. But I do the monthly reports. I have the trustees to sign the monthly report.
Okay,
And if they're not at a meeting, then we meet somewhere to get those reports signed. What I also do is I attach all my receipts and vouchers to that monthly report. Is that correct to do, or should I be doing something different?
you can attach them. You need to keep them. They should be there for them to review if they have any questions on the expenditures, but attaching them is great. That's perfect. What you're trying to do are eliminate questions down the road. Somebody says, hey, we spent $5,000 on this. Who approved that? Well, the trustees reviewed it. You can see that they reviewed it back in July or whenever it was. It was reported at the post. Everybody saw it. It's not a surprise. So you want to take away surprises and questions. And what sounds like what you're doing is good.
What I also do, sir, I have my trustees to sign the vouchers as well as the monthly report. So their signatures are all over. They have to see the receipt so they can sign the vouchers. The vouchers are attached to the monthly report, so they see the information multiple times.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. You can have them initial them. You can have them as long as they're signing the form and the numbers are on the form, you're covered, but it doesn't hurt to have them initial or sign the vouchers too, if that helps keep things straight. Ultimately, if something happens and money goes missing, we want to show that we did our due diligence on managing the money. I do want to go through this section 17 that came up earlier. Operations. Is the post incorporated? Yes. Have the payroll deductions been made? Yes. Enter employee EIN. Type in the number, whatever it is. And if you're using the form over and over again, a lot of these will be answered already. If you don't have payroll or you can put in an NA there. But if you have people you're paying, then definitely you want to do that. Have quarterly payments been made? Yes. Sales tax? Yes. Club employees bonded. So here's amount of outstanding bills. Whatever it is, $1,000, type it in. Value of real estate, and I think this is where somebody talked about before, you're getting crosshatches. It's because the number's too big there. You can see up here the numbers in there. What you can do is you can come up here and just reduce the font a little bit on that, and you see the number will fit in there. That's why you're getting crosshatches. So if your number's too big and you get the crosshatches like this, just come up here to the font and click it down one, and you'll probably fit in there. All right. If you can't read the number, then they can't read it. But that way, and again, if you're reusing the form, then that'll be there for next time. Amount of liability insurance. Same thing. If you need to, just click up here. You've got your font information. Just click the little down, make the font a little smaller, and you'll be good there. Owed on mortgages and balances, hopefully 0, but whatever it is, put it in there. Value of personal property, again, that's not going to change monthly unless you made a big purchase or you got rid of some property, but whatever it is, type that in. An amount of property insurance. Again, that may be one that you need to just click make the font a little smaller. If you get to the point where you've got the crosshatches and you can't remember how to get rid of it, you can ping me and I can help you with it, or even I think Inspector Tally would help you with that. So that way you don't have to be writing numbers on there and deal with that. And then when you print it to PDF, those numbers will be on there. Okay?
Jeff,
Yes.
a question. This is Ray. You mentioned bonding and insurance. Does the manual spell out the amount of bond or the amount of insurance, or is that an individual thing based on the size of the post?
Well, the insurance should cover whatever the post has. So I have to go back and look. I don't recall that there are any specified minimums in there.
But it's a dependent
Right.
amount then.
Definitely. And bonds, anyone who's bonded, anyone who has access to money needs to be bonded for the amount of money they have access to. So think of it this way: however much they could steal, that's what you need to be bonded for. So if you've got $50,000 in your account, then you need to be bonded for $50,000. And understanding what the inspector said earlier about the fluctuations of money, you may at some points during the year have $55,000. So your bond needs to be high enough to cover those fluctuations. Now, if you've got a canteen manager or somebody who's working bingo or something, and all they ever have access to is $2,000, then that's all the bond they need. I think $3,000 is the minimum, but that's how much they need. You don't need to bond them for everything the post has. Bond them for what they have access to.
So, follow-up question.
Yes.
Does the post pick, does the state have a company they do bonding business with and do insurance with, or is it up to the post to find someone in their locale they trust?
No,
to handle
You
this?
you can come to the department. The bonding forms are on the website, and you mail them to headquarters, and we can get you bonded. I think our rates are very comparable. It has to be a surety bond. Okay, you'll see when you get into bonding, there's 5 or 6 different kinds of bonds.
Right.
And
I
we have some posts that several posts, in fact, that they get their bond through their insurance. And as long as it says surety bond, and as long as there's no deductible, then we're good. But I think our rates are pretty good at the department. And
you don't have an insurance. You don't have a insurance company.
We work with, there's a insurance company at National that we work with. So we basically, you submit the bond paperwork to us, we forward it up to them and make sure everything's taken care of there.
So is the insurance company that National uses, that on the National website?
I don't know if it is or not. It's Tallman Insurance.
What I'm trying to decipher here is whether or not a post is going to have to, if we don't have either one of these, it's whether or not we're going to have to go look for a vendor to provide the bonding and another vendor to provide the insurance.
If you go here's right here on the website, here's the bond applications. You can just fill that out, send it to us at state headquarters, and we'll get you taken care of on bond. On insurance, there's there's some different companies. We do use, a lot of posts use Turner, Wood and Smith I think they're out of Gainesville, Georgia. But you'd have to look at what works for your post as far as the kind of insurance you need to get covered.
So I have a question about the bonding.
Hang on 1 second. Ray, you done?
Yeah, if you can, it would be helpful if you could send out that a link to the bonding website and maybe include the name of the insurance company that is most frequently used.
Okay.
So
We'll do, Ray. Bob, go ahead.
If during the year, you say your bond is set at $7,000,
right?
But during the year, your checking account goes above that. Let's say it goes to 8,500. Do you then have to reapply for a new bond?
Yeah, but you only apply for the amount, the difference. You only need to be rebonded for the difference, not for the new entire amount. So in your example, you would only up your bond $1,500.
I see.
So you wouldn't be paying for 7,000 and then paying for 8,500.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Just got a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question about 990 ends. Could you cover that a little bit? What we're hearing is did the IRS change requirements to a 3 rare, and y'all require annually?
Not to my knowledge. What I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll set up the December meeting to go over the 990. Okay.
Okay.
So the first, we're doing these the first Wednesday of each month. So Wednesday is what's I don't have my calendar in front of me.
1st of December.
1st of December. So December 1st, we'll do it and we'll cover, I'm making a note. We'll go through the 990 in depth and any changes to it. Will that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay. That way we can advertise it and let people get their questions answered. Who else had a question?
Yeah, it's not a question, but I just wanted to bring up that you showed the monthly report form,
Right.
and it's on a spreadsheet. The way we've done it is we set up our 3 monthly reports, and then we actually just take the information off of those 3 monthly reports, and it automatically fills out our quarterly.
Perfect.
Whatever the post wants to do as far as the monthly report goes is fine. But because it's your record, as long as you guys can decipher it, you guys understand what's going on with it, that's fine. You can do it however you want to.
Yeah, I know, but if you do the monthly reports and you do them right, then all the information is already on them, and you just pull it over and automatically fill in your quarterlies.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I agree
Your
with you.
starting numbers on your first monthly should be the starting numbers on your quarterly, and the ending numbers on your third monthly should be the ending numbers on your quarterly.
Correct.
So, exactly. That's it. That's the beauty of doing this, is you can copy those numbers right in there. Absolutely. Who else has got
Okay.
a question?
Okay, back to the second point I wanted to make on the sheet, had to do with box 18, where we didn't talk about the sources of the entries for the first, second, and next to the last line, I think it was.
Which ones?
Okay, the checking account balance, okay, is the adjusted balance from the bank, the latest bank statement, same thing, okay, which means you could have deposits that you're showing that you made that didn't hit the bank statement, or you have checks written, for example, that didn't hit the bank statement. So that's an adjusted number. Okay, and the same thing with the savings account balance. You could have deposits or withdrawals there. And then the next to the last one, bond and investments, that again ought to be off the latest bank statement. Okay, and that's, if you don't do that, then you can end up with a disconnect, because you could have higher or lower amounts at the total in box 18 than you got in cell 16I, or I'm sorry, 29I, box 16. So you have to be sensitive to the adjustment of those first two.
Right. It's important. Do we have any trustees on here?
Yeah,
Good.
me.
It's important. It's important for trustees for bonds and investments. In the past, I've heard stories, I haven't seen it, where a quartermaster just had an old copy of the bond or something, and so would show it to the trustees. You need to see that latest statement for whatever accounts there are, because there's no guarantee that that bond is still there. I mean, in fact, you could go look at the bond, I guess, if you want, in the safe deposit box, or if they still do that. But you definitely need to make sure that you're looking at current bank statements on those. So for all of the financial statements, you should be looking at them. And again, that's something that you should be looking at monthly as a trustee, and quartermaster should encourage that. I think it was John Gwizdak always said, I want to give you the opportunity to confirm my integrity on this. Belinda, what you got?
Yes, sir. When I first started doing this report, I was having problems, because I understand that column 11 and 12 should add up, and they should minus number 13 to get number 14. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
I realize now that I had messed up the formula. Should I have to reinstate that formula? Where do I go to do that?
Probably the easiest
I
thing to do is just
download the-
re-download the form. I think that's what.
So
Curtis
you
was gonna
recommend
say.
to re-download the form?
Right. Like I
Okay,
said, we should be able to lock these fields, all these fields that you don't need to update. We're going to see if we can lock these. So if you try to type in there, it won't let you, because these numbers all come from this group of numbers right here.
You could also go to one that you haven't messed up and just copy that and put it back over where you messed up, and then it'll copy the formula back in.
Right.
Good idea, Ricky.
One other thing I do now and want to know if it's okay. For the expenditure column, I highlight those in red to let someone know that those are minuses and not additions.
That's
Is
fine.
that okay?
Yeah. Absolutely. So district and post. So if we put you can get that verbose, or you can just put
So I have a question for you. Someone who has an issue with this form, who do they call?
call me.
And how do we get in touch with you? Through Tammy or just your direct number?
You can call my direct number.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I don't have it.
678-571-5333. 5333 spells Jeff, by the way. But yeah, if I don't answer right away, leave a voicemail. I get a lot of spam calls, so sometimes if I don't recognize a number, I may not call. I may not answer it right away, but I will definitely. You can text that number. It's a cell number. You can text it if you want, or I will call you back if you leave a voicemail as soon as I'm able. Okay. Good questions. Good response. Anybody else got any questions? And I think you're muted. Are you trying to talk?
Yes, right. I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, Marcus.
Well, sir, the question I've got is on the bonds and investments, current value in block 18.
Okay.
Will not, it's supposed to be what's in block 16 is supposed to equal the total should match balance on number 16. If I do my bond stuff and put it in there, it's way off. So what I am having to do is add those things up, and the difference, or actually what's left over, that's not, to get 16 to match up with the last line in 18, I've got to do some subtraction, and that difference goes in there. When it adds all up, then 16 and last line in 18 match.
You're talking about matching what's in 9, the numbers in 9, bonds and investments, with which line down here? With the,
Well, in block 18, it says bonds and investments, parentheses, current value, close parentheses.
gotcha. Curtis, you got an answer on that?
Don't have to match that. It just has to be larger.
Well, these are not surety bonds, I don't think. These are if you have a
Those are investment
Stocks and bonds, right?
investments bond, yeah, stocks and bonds kind of thing.
Well, that's,
I didn't hear the whole question. I apologize.
well, we don't have any stocks or bonds.
So it'd be a 0.
Right. But the problem is if I leave it 0, 16 and that last line on 18 won't work.
Why not? Everything else should be taken care of. I mean, it should all balance out based on what you have in the bank and any cash on hand that you may have.
Well, that's not the way I was showed when I took over this job.
Okay.
But I do know 16, that last line on 18 in block 18 has to be the same.
Yes, sir.
And to get it all to work, you put in your checking account balance, then you put your savings account balance and cash on hand if you have any, And whatever that total is gonna be less than what's in 16, because for block 16, everything up in 14 all adds up to get 16. Well, not all those things fit into checking account balance, savings account balance, and cash on hand.
What else would you have?
Oh, hell, I'll give you the numbers. You can add them up and it won't work.
Well, I mean, whatever you may have that's not in any of those three accounts, you can add in block 18 in some manner. If you don't have bonds and investments, whatever else you have, you can total those up and rename that line item in order to account for that.
So you tell me I can go in and take out bonds and investments and write in other?
Right under other, just put, or you got other right here. You just put it in there. You can put other, and you can, if
You go
it's,
up,
if
you
it's,
have line 10 up in the funds
I'm
section.
talking like you guys can see me. I haven't shared my screen. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I'm that way too. Sorry. Marcus is a nuke. He can figure it out.
All right, so you see this, you can just go up here into other, and you can type in there
Oh, I understand that.
and then put whatever the amount is, the amounts are here.
But
And
that
it'll
will
calculate
throw
in.
off. But what I'm saying is it won't work when you got to get that 16 to match up with that last line in block 18.
What other, I guess the question Curtis is asking, I'm asking is what other funds do you have that don't fit into cash, savings, or checking or investments?
Is there another financial institution that you're using where those funds would be accounted?
No,
Where's that money coming from?
well, like say, for example, the post canteen or club fund. Let's see, that was the last quarter was $6,138.40. That's a separate checking than the post checking fund.
Okay, but it's still a checking account. So you would put the balance of both of them here.
Okay, but then my checking account balance that's at the top, that top line in block 18 will not match up at the post general fund.
That doesn't really matter.
I mean, excuse me. Well, the post general fund is my checking account fund.
Okay.
Okay,
What
so
is-
you got
what is-
$10,000 in there, and you've got a canteen checking account that has $6,000 in it. So down here, you would put 16,000 in this.
Yeah, the checking account balance should account for all the checking accounts that you have. Your
Right.
savings account balance, if you have more than one savings account, then it should account for all of your account balances.
Okay, well.
Does that make sense?
And your statements will back it up. You can do what?
I might end up having to have this changed then.
Okay. What, I mean,
Right.
if whatever we
I
got
mean-
to do to adjust it and get it right, we can do that.
We can work through that.
Right. I mean, you're accounting for all the money. You're just putting it in different columns. So, yeah, I think Curtis can work with you. I can work with you. We can get that straightened out. But yeah, your money is going to be in checking accounts, savings accounts, or cash, or investments. And all four of those lines are down here, so they should match. But this doesn't have to be a single checking account. It's, as Curtis said, all of your checking accounts, all of your savings accounts. I've seen posts with 5 different checking accounts. If that's what it is, then you just got to add all those up and put them in there.
Okie doke.
I don't recommend 5 checking accounts. That was
Well,
not a
you have-
recommendation.
If you have Keno, you have to have its own account.
You have to have a lottery account, right?
Right. If you have a canteen, it has to have its own account. and our post has its general fund.
Right. So that if that's 3 checking accounts, then you put those numbers in here. There's your lottery fund. You got $100,000 in there.
I wish to God we did.
So then this is 116,000, right?
Yeah, you could just put a formula in there and just have it add up all your checking accounts and put it in there.
You could. That's exactly right. You could set this up
No.
with a, but we're starting to get into some stuff that,
Jeff, I caution about that formula because you got to make that number that's there. You don't just take from this sheet. You got to make sure that number comes off the adjusted or reconciled bank statements.
right.
So it's not just a simple error
Yeah.
formula sticking it in here.
Yeah, you should be
there are-
pulling this from the statement. I mean, if your numbers are all right, your numbers are all right.
Yeah, that's the reason I do mine monthly, and my monthly ends up matching my checking account balances at the end of the month. So each
Right.
one of those are correct. So this has to be correct.
Yep.
Somebody else, Anna, did you have a question? I don't see you. Where'd you go? She's still there.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's just a
okay.
quick question. Are these going to be available, these sessions, to view later?
Yes, we're recording this, so we'll put it on our YouTube channel and we'll get it out to you so you can look at it.
How do we find them on YouTube?
We'll send you the link. We'll send out the link to all the quartermasters.
Okay.
And we'll, for those of you on Facebook, we'll put the link in the Adjutant Quartermaster group as well. So
What do you mean on Facebook?
we have an Adjutant Quartermaster group for the department on Facebook.
Oh, I didn't know. What do we type in there to find it?
VFW Georgia Adjutant Quartermasters Club.
Adjutant Quartermaster. Okay. Okay. Now, as far as the mail-in program, how long is that going to last? Do we know?
The mail-in.
You know, the program that we pay for membership, the first year membership.
Myland.
Mylan.
I think they've committed through this year.
Okay.
And no guarantees beyond that. So right now, if something happens that it gets canceled, we'll let you know. But as of right now, what I understand is that they have committed to the 21-22 year. So through June of this year.
So Jeff, I got one other question for you, sir. Mark is at 5408.
Yes, sir.
What was that thing? So I can show the quartermasters, my commander, the requirements in our podium edition of the the book you use on the thing, the new brown covered one, the monthly thing. What
Section
what part of that book
218.
is-
Section 218 covers roles and responsibilities.
Okay.
And it's got them by position. So you should be able to see them by quartermaster and you should see them by trustees.
I'm talking about the monthly report though.
That's where it says that. Now the quartermaster guide tells you about filling out the monthly report. And we went through that last month, I think.
The monthly review is under the trustees.
Right.
At
In
least
section
monthly
2.
review, monthly report of receipts and expenditures of the post quartermaster.
Right. Section 218. Guys, we're over our hour. I'm willing to stay on and talk if anybody wants to, but I want to be cognizant of your time. And there, Anna, I think, or anybody else that wants to see it, Dean just put in chat the name of the group, VFW Georgia. I think there's more to it than that. than just QM/QMs. It should be an adjutant QMs.
Yeah,
Association.
VFW Georgia Adjutant /
Yeah.
QM Association.
Let me go in and see if I can correct that.
I put it on there. Is that not the right one that I put on there?
Yeah, that's good, Rhonda.
There you
Okay.
go. Right. Yep. Rhonda put the right one. There you go.
No, Rhonda's has to have an S after it. It's QMS.
Oh, okay.
If you type that much, you'll probably find it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of them out there.
There's the link to it.
Let's see here. But anybody else got anything?
Good meeting, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep,
And
see you later.
and we'll get this downloaded probably by the end of the week. We'll have the YouTube link out. Okay.
Hey Jeff, I just do have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So other than sending the quarterly audit to Tammy, what's the like preferred method?
If you've got a scanned copy of it and you can email it to her, that's probably the most preferred.
Okay, yeah, I scan it and I send it to her, but I didn't know if there was like another place to send it.
No, that's good. And then she'll record in the score sheet that it's received and it'll be read, and then she'll forward it to Curtis. He'll review it, and once it's accepted, then he'll turn it green. So you'll see in there, if you see the number, and you'll see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see the numbers. If they're red, that means they got it. And once it turns green, that means it's been accepted.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
You bet. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Night, everybody.
Go Braves.
Be blessed and be safe.
Absolutely.